All right, I'm Connor Healy. How you guys doing today?
Great.
Yeah? All right. Well, in case you didn't know, my family has a farm. And it's not like some sort of 25-acre plot of land with just wheat billowing in the wind romantically or full of livestock. We don't grow a variety of crops year-round. We don't have a fancy tractor with GPS. We have a dinky little, under an acre plot of land with 2 rundown buildings, not just one, a trailer, which we don't know whose it is, and a burnt down greenhouse. We grow tomatoes, peppers, and cantaloupe. And first and foremost, it's my family's farm, as in it belongs to everyone in my family. It was run by my grandmother, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, my second uncles, and their children. It doesn't really belong to any of us, and we're all kind of stuck with it. And I spent every summer of my childhood working on that farm. My mom would wake us up to take us to pick up supplies at various markets in New Jersey, drive us all the way back to Bristol to start working. I did this a lot as a kid, to the point where being cramped in places with people with bad body odor and little lighting feels oddly nostalgic. And speaking of nostalgia, I want all of you to just take a second and think about what you did during the summer as a kid. You know, some of you got to hang out with friends in the summer, wander around, or even go to camp. I got to ride in the back of a minivan packed in between crates of tomatoes. Don't worry, it's not as fun as it sounds. There were plenty of invertebrate there to keep me company. But like I said, it's my family's farm. And with that many odd relatives always around, I was taught a lot of stuff, and not just how to avoid wasps. I was taught things like hard work, money, and I guess kind of family stuff. And speaking of family, if you guys think I'm weird, then you're in for a shock. My family is composed of my Aunt Maury, my Uncle Franny, my Aunt Annie, my mother Kathy, my Uncle Tommy. Their parents really like to names that end in E. Also included are my cousins Kevin, Samantha, Teresa, Danny, Matthew, Michael, myself, my brother Gavin, my sisters Maeve and Claire, my aunt's husband John, his brothers, all 9 of them, my 8 second uncles, who we just refer to as the Garrity Gaggle, and their children, which are a lot. Now they have grandchildren who have children. So it's a lot. And I want to breathe, so I'm not going to tell you all of their names. So why does all of this matter? Well, much like breaking down on a bridge, you're kind of stuck. But instead of with a moody bridge cop, you're stuck with people who you sometimes look at and go, huh, that's how it could have turned out. Better learn from that. And so speaking of learning the upside to spending so much time with my extended family as a child, I got to learn a lot by example. It was like watching someone lose a fight with a goose. And learning, hey, I shouldn't try to pet a goose. It'll try to fight me. My family has had a definite impact on my life by showing me that family mostly means having a group of people to learn from and who you can ask for advice. So I never got to see my mom lose that fight with the goose, but my aunts and uncles told me that so many times that it feels like I was right there with popcorn. And because of they're always trying to teach by example, my family's very big on education, because no one actually wants to keep living on the family farm. And one of the best things they ever taught me was about hard work and the lessons that come with it. These are lessons I took to heart and have fundamentally shaped me. And the first lesson, the very first lesson they taught me, was that hard work absolutely sucks. I was taught that hard work is something that you never get credit for. It's something you did when no one was watching, and that means pouring hours of work into one teeny tiny little detail that no one will ever even notice. Like putting all the red tomatoes in the front and all the green tomatoes in the back. No one really cares, but you gotta spend hours doing it. And that really stuck to me, because it's called hard work for a reason. It's hard. And the thing that really sucks about it, more than it just being hard, is you have to learn how to maximize your effort. You have to learn how to maximize the amount of work you get out of it to the work you put into it. Now, some people would call that being lazy. I call it just hardworking, because you can take a nap during the middle of the day when no one's there, because you have to stay up till 10 at night doing more work. And just like my family taught me, hard work is something you don't ever see someone putting in. And if you do see someone who looks like they're putting in hard work, there's a good chance all you're seeing is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, there's the whole iceberg underneath it, but all you're seeing is that one little thing. And learning about hard work is, my relatives taught me that eventually putting in that hard work will show itself. Albeit it will show up very small, minutely, and slowly. It's like when you eat a bunch of vegetables as a kid so you grow up tall. Sure, you get over 6 foot, but I mean, so many broccoli. And hard work is different. It's very different when it's for personal gain. Because one of the most important things that shaped me there was actually money. And you might be sort of sitting there wondering, well, hey, if you guys didn't like selling all those vegetables, why'd you do it? Well, that was because my grandmother, who had lived on that farm her entire life, needs to pay her bills. And some people might say, well, maybe you shouldn't just leave a bunch of kids lying around with hundreds of dollars in cash, unsupervised. Well, I mean, it just doesn't seem like a great idea. They might be right. You know, money is a weird concept, essentially. And like most difficult concepts, just when you think you understand it, it turns out you're super wrong. And American currency is extra weird because it's just a piece of paper. And we all agree that it has a certain value to it, and we all set our goods to that value. Unless you're me and you're 10 years old and you don't really get how much money is a lot of money, especially since every time the animal control guy shows up, your uncle pays him in corn and tomatoes. So things don't really add up in your head. And I quickly learned that when money comes into the picture, trust goes out the window. I mean, there were weeks of fighting. Accusations would fly left and right, even when the missing money was found in a different register. And this went on every month, every summer, for 15 long years. I would have to sit there and my uncle would go, you stole money, check in the other register, checks the other register. All right, it's here, but you did that, you stole. No. You put it in the wrong register. But that's the thing about money. It just causes distrust. And that, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you can point at it and say, yeah, greed's bad, you know? But it's still a powerful motivator. And on my family's farm, we had a tradition. We never work on Sundays, like ever. For over 80 years, no one in our family had worked on Sundays. That wasn't until my uncle told me, the same uncle who would accuse me of stealing, that I could stay open on Sunday and sell more produce. And I could keep whatever profit I made as long as Grandma didn't catch me. Now, here's the thing. Grandma's house is right here, and the farm stand is right here, in front of the window. So when 50 cars are showing up every hour, she notices. And she was displeased, to say the least. Now, you ever try to win an argument with an old lady? How about over money? Family tradition? It really doesn't matter what you say to her. Even when you say, I need to pay for my college classes, you lose. You're just gonna lose. And what did I learn from that? Was it that money is a powerful motivator? Was it that personal gain is never worth hurting your loved one over? No, it was that working for family stinks like a hot dumpster. And spoiler alert, the punishment I was given for breaking the tradition was having to clean out the dumpster we used for spoiled produce and any dead animals we found. Some of which turned out not to be dead. And after all, because you know, nothing screams childhood development like developing a fear of rats and screaming, because there was a lot of screaming on the farm. And speaking of the farm, or the scream farm as I call it, we're now in the process of selling it. And since no one wants to take care of the place where they developed their irrational fear of wasps, or rats in my case, we're just sort of stuck in that process of trying to sell it. But for the most part, for most of my family, including myself, it means selling a place where they essentially grew up. Now, in conclusion, my family's farm has grown me into the corny man you see before you. By working there, I was taught about the concept of money and the consequences of focusing on it. I was taught about hard work and why no one ever really wants to do hard work. And finally, I was taught about the value and importance of family. So, as I said, I would not be the person I was today if it weren't for the experiences I gained on my family's farm.